What's up, my Essential Units? It's Essential Man here. So this is my review of TNA Lockdown 2009. This is a brand new segment I'm going to do on this channel, reviewing some TNA pay-per-views. Not just in the TNA era, but in the Impact Wrestling era in our current timeline. I used to review TNA pay-per-views in the past, but I delete all my TNA pay-per-view reviews. So I'm going to start from scrap. So yeah. The first in this segment, I'm going to review TNA Lockdown 2009 at the Leah, I'm going to butcher this name of this arena, Leah Laya Chorus Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is in ECW territory on the 19th of April 2009. I think this show was a few weeks after WrestleMania 25, and I think it was also, maybe it was a week before or a week after Backlash 2009. Wow, WWE we're doing like 2 pay-per-views a month. They don't do it right now, but they used to do like 2 pay-per-views in 1 month. You know, that's too many pay-per-views. Anyway, so the attendance for the show was 4,500. TNA Lockdown 2009 received about, the buy rate for the show is between 35 to 40,000 pay-per-view buys, a downgrade than the 2008 Lockdown pay-per-view. It's the highly bought Lockdown pay-per-view in TNA history. The main event of that show was Kurt Angle defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Samoa Joe. Joe defeat Kurt on that show to win his one and only TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Lockdown 2008 received about 50 to 55,000 pay-per-view buys. The mid to late 2000s, you can tell like TNA is on a rise. You thought that TNA is the alternative. You thought they could compete with WWE. Unfortunately, that was not the case. You know, it's just how, like, in the mid to late 2000s, you thought that they could compete with the WWE. Yeah, they tried to experiment the following year in 2010, the whole new Monday Night Wars, but unfortunately it didn't pan out. So, and then, you know, years later, you know, NXT replaced TNA as the alternative to the main roster WWE, and right now, like I said, AEW as the alternative to WWE. So, yeah, going back to really the time when TNA is actually popular, it's making buzzes throughout the, you know, I think the boom period started in 2005, 06, 07, 08, and 09. Those are the golden years of TNA. And this is before the whole Hulk Hogan thing, you know, era in TNA. I don't want to get into it. So anyway, so the commentators for the show are the Professor, Mike Tenay, and Dom West. So, Lockdown, it's been around since 2005. This is the 5th Lockdown in TNA history. I think this show was created by Dusty Rhodes. He was the booker of TNA in 2005. I think he left in 2006 or 2007 before going to the WWE. The gimmick around Lockdown, I think Lockdown is the successor to Fall Brawl. Fall Brawl is a pay-per-view in WCW known for doing the War Games match. Lockdown is known for doing the Lethal Lockdown match. You know, you can say Lockdown is the predecessor, or not predecessor, the successor to Fall Brawl. You can tell, like, Lockdown is, you can say predecessor to Takeover War Games, so it's one or the other, you know. But, like, Takeover War Games is their version of Lockdown, so. The gimmick of Lockdown is basically every match is around a steel cage. That's the gimmick, you know. So, and also you can say it's the predecessor to Hell in a Cell, but I prefer Lockdown over Hell in a Cell, you know, because WWE always like watered down the concept. In my opinion, I think Lockdown is the big 3 pay-per-view in TNA history. The big 3. Alongside Slammiversary and Bound for Glory. The big 3. I don't know the big 4 I don't know which pay-per-view could be the big 4. Maybe Final Resolution, that's the final pay-per-view of the year, or Genesis. No, I'd say the big three for me, the big three TNA pay-per-views are, of the year. It's Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, yeah, and Lockdown is the third biggest pay-per-view of TNA of the year. So, anyway, so the first match to kick off. By the way, let's do a quick result in the Dark match. You probably find it on a copy of Lockdown 2009. I watched this on. I got the Impact Plus app, and also you can watch it on YouTube. Lockdown 2009. Anyway, so the Dark match, you had Eric Young defeating Danny Bonaducci. So the first match to kick off Lockdown 2009. This is a five-way match. I think it's a five-way elimination match for the TNA X Division Championship. Suicide defending the belt against the Black Machismo, Jay Lethal. Consequences Creed, and that's the future Xavier Woods, by the way. Kiyoshi, he will be part of the World Elite. That'll be later on in the year. The World Elite is Eric Young's group with the British Invasion, and his future member of the World Elite, Sheikh Abdul Bashir. That is the former Sean Daivari, who used to be the manager of Muhammad Hassan in those mid-2000s WWE. So Suicide the champion. You've got Jay Lethal, who's doing the whole Randy Savage gimmick, impersonation gimmick, because Lethal basically Savage when he was alive, Savage gave Lethal his blessing to use that gimmick. So he became the Black Machismo Jay Lethal. Consequences Creed, that's Austin Creed, the future Xavier Woods. His gimmick is based on Apollo Creed. He's a character from the Rocky movies. And Kiyoshi's some Japanese guy, and Abdul Bashir, he was basically this Arab. He just came off feuding with the referee Shane Sewell. So the goal, and by the way, Suicide, I think he's Kazarian or Christopher Daniels under a mask. It's one or the other. I think it was Kazarian at this moment in time. Because there's many wrestlers portraying the role of Suicide, because Suicide was based on TNA's first game that just came out the previous year in 2008. So, Suicide won the X Division title in a Ultimate X match at Destination X the previous month. So the goal of this match is basically you have to eliminate 4 of your opponents first, then the final 2 you have to win by, I think it was pinfall, submission, or escaping the cage. So the first person got eliminated was Kiyoshi, got eliminated by Jay Lethal. It was a diving elbow, and then Sheikh Abdul Bashir eliminate not Austin Creed, but Consequences Creed with the WMD. It's basically a jumping DDT, so they call it the weapon of mass destruction DDT. So Abdul Bashir eliminated Consequences Creed, and then he went on to eliminate Black Machismo Jay Lethal after Suicide hit Lethal with the Suicide Solution. So the final 2 in this match was Suicide and Sheikh Abdul Bashir. In the end, the ending was good. It was creative, by the way. You had Kiyoshi trying to help the Sheik getting the victory, help him win the X Division title. Suicide did like a massive dive off the steel cage onto Kiyoshi and some security guards to win this match and retain the X Division Championship. It was a good match. In this match you had some typical fast-paced moves. At this time the X Division was still red hot. The intensity was down. It was super intensity in those mid-2000s TNA, but you can tell it's cranked down a bit. But on the flip side, still good to watch. It's a fast-paced moves in this match. I know it's surrounded by the cage. It kind of like crippled their abilities, their style. But on the flip side, I think they did work But yeah, this was a good match to kick off the pay-per-view, having Suicide retaining the X Division title. So the next match, this is a four-way. This is a Queen of the Cage match. This is a four-way cage match for the women. They call it the Knockouts. So the competitors in the Queen of the Cage match, you got ODB, the One Day Bitch, with Cody Deaner in her corner, taking on Sojo Bolts. I'm gonna call her Sojo Bolts. I can't really pronounce her full name. Was it Sojo Bolts? But I'm gonna call her Sojo for short. Yeah, Sojo Bolts. Madison Rain. Madison Rain represent the beautiful people, and also just before she was doing the whole Queen Bee gimmick, and also you got Daphne. Daphne, she got her head cut, chopped. A little bit of her hair has been cut because she was portraying the governor. She was not Daphne, she was just the governor. She was basically doing the Sarah Palin impersonation gimmick. It was part of the like Tyler Wilde and Roxy's rival feud with the beautiful people. So yeah, she was doing the whole Sarah Palin gimmick because Sarah Palin was running for president running for the presidency in 2008. Sorry, I'm stumbling, by the way. Running to become president in 2008. Unfortunately, the first female president to be in America's history, but unfortunately she lost to Barack Obama. Obama became the first and only black president in the United States of America history. So that's a bit of some information. The governor was in this feud with the beautiful people alongside Tyler Wilde and Roxy. She won a match on, I think it was the 19th of March episode of Impact, and then they attacked the governor and cutting her hair. So, and then she's Daphne. She's playing two characters at once, basically killing two birds with one stone. Anyway, so the match was okay. It wasn't a bad match. I think it's one of the weakest matches of the show. It's kind of eh. It was predictable that she's getting the victory, and she did. She grabbed her flasks. I don't know what the flasks fill off. It probably, whether it's whiskey or vodka or gin, whatever alcohol inside the flask. She kind of spit the alcohol in the face of Sojo Bolts. I think it hit her like a pattern and slam for the victory. And then the funny part in the end, I think Cody Deaner is basically maybe an on-screen boyfriend for ODB. The funny part in the end, you had basically ODB grabbing Deaner's head and place his head into her tits. She got big tits, ODB, and she is strong, very underrated wrestler in my opinion. She is super strong. She's got to be the strongest wrestlers, in history. She's like picking up I saw clips of her picking up like Awesome Kong. She is super strong, and picking up like male wrestlers who's taller than her and bigger than her. She's just underrated strongest wrestler in professional wrestling history. That's ODB, the one dirty bitch. So this whole Queen of the Cage gimmick, it's stupid because the previous year's Lockdown, they did two in TNA's history. The first one was basically a reverse battle royal that was created by Vince Russo, who's the booker of TNA at the time, the writer of TNA at the time, created this match gimmick. This is just a normal four-way cage match. So it didn't really do anything. I'm glad they stopped doing it in future Lockdown shows. It didn't do anything. It's not like ODB get a shot at the title. She went on to win the Knockouts title later on in the year. I don't know how many times she won it. Like 4 times, 5 times in her career in TNA. I'm not too sure. So, but besides that, okay match. Wasn't bad. Wasn't anything important. So moving on. So the next match. This is a freeway match for the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships. We got the Motor City Machine Guns. That is Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin defending the belts against Hernandez and Homicide of LAX, and the team of No Limit. By the way, bit of a trivia side note. The Machine Guns won the title at Wrestle Kingdom 3 in January of that year. Because at this moment in time, TNA and New Japan were in a working relationship. I think at this moment in time, New Japan, it's not the New Japan you see right now in our current timeline. I think in the New Japan from the 2000s, in the mid to late 2000s, I don't know, it was still in the middle of their dark period or just coming out of that dark period. Their dark period was shit. It's basically doing a lot of shoot fighting, hiring some MMA or really some non-wrestlers to compete in New Japan against the signed wrestlers, and it was backfire for the company. Nearly went out of business, and a lot of wrestlers got hurt in that dark period. So, not much about that dark period of New Japan. Just a bit of a side note, and not trivia, but more information. So, they defeated. No Limit is Yujiro Takahashi and Naito. I can't pronounce his first name. Is Naito. I can't pronounce his. I can't remember his first name. My first exposure of Naito was his feud with Chris Jericho a decade later when Jericho was in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Just came off his feud with Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom in January of 2018. So goes Naito and Jericho feud with the IWGP Intercontinental Championships. So a bit of a trivia. I never knew who was wrestled in TNA at the time. Yeah, they went on to have Okada in that group, who's become a future future IWGP World Champion in a decade later. So you can tell they're in a good relationship with TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Right now, they're in a working relationship with AEW. They're in that Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Anyway, so the match is good. I really like this match. This was a fun match to watch. The whole bulk of the match between LAX and the Motor City Machine Guns. My apologies. You had Sabin and Shelley trying to lift Hernandez, but Hernandez built like a shit brick house. His nickname is Supermex. He kind of there was one move. He kind of not close line. I think he hit like a sick belly to belly suplex on. I think it was on Shelley. Then he hit the border toss. Is there his version of the Razor's Edge? I think it was on Shelley or Sabin. It was really fast paced, X Division stuff, because Hernandez is not really part of the X Division. You got the Japanese guys and the Guns are like cruiserweight type of wrestlers. Don't know about Homicide. I don't think he's a cruiserweight wrestler. I don't think so. By the way, both Hernandez and the two and Homicide are Feast of Fire briefcase holders, because Hernandez got the briefcase. He can cash in. Feast of Fire is basically their version of Money in the Bank. By the way, bit of a trivia. Homicide got the briefcase and he gets a shot at the X Division Championship. That's Homicide. Hernandez gets a shot at the World title. Unfortunately, they never went on to win those titles, so it's a bit of a trivia, and spoiler alert, they don't. So there's one spot they were doing for LAX guys. Hernandez pick up, I think it was Sabin or Shelley, on his shoulders, and Homicide hit the Gringo Killer onto Shelley or Sabin off of Hernandez's shoulder. That was a near fall, by the way. In the end, the Guns hit their finisher. What was it called? The Mean of Detroit. I think it was on the Japanese guys or Homicide. I can't remember. It's one or the other to win this match and retain the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship. So fun match to watch. Yeah, it's one of the best matches of the night. Go and watch it. It's good. So moving on to the next match. So the next match, this is a Doomsday Chamber of Blood match. Boy, that's Vince Russo for you, because he was part of TNA at the time. We got the Monster Abyss taking on the Blueprint Matt Morgan. So they were a tag team, and then in late 2008, early 2009, they ended up losing matches. I think like they were challenging for the tag team championships. I think they lost the tag team championships. Like Abyss in one match cost Morgan. That like miscommunication. Sorry, I'm speaking too fast, by the way. And and then like in January, beginning of the year, you had Morgan turning on Abyss. Abyss was doing a storyline that he's seen in a psychologist. Sorry, speaking too fast, by the way. I need a drink. My throat's a bit dry. Yeah, so Abyss is seeing this psychologist to basically get his hardcore mental instate under control. Seeing a psychologist that is Stevie Richards, or AKA Dr. Stevie, and in kayfabe, he was in this relationship with Lauren, the interview girl. So that's a bit of a the backstory. And also they had matches at the first match was at Against All Odds in February of that year. Abyss won the first match. Then the rematch was at Destination X the previous month that Morgan won. So this is a blow off to the rivalry between Abyss and Matt Morgan. They were chanting "We want blood," and we got blood. But people say this is a worst match of the night. I kind of disagree with you. It wasn't a bad match. It was kind of mediocre. It kind of served its purpose. At least we got blood. You had one more of the match. Abyss grabbing the chair. He was a bit hesitant. Is he going to use the chair? Morgan hit the his finisher. That is the Coffin Blueprint onto Abyss. He bled after he got kicked in the face while holding the chair in the process. Throw the chair outside the ring. Morgan did some punches onto Abyss. He bled. Then there was some glass. It was a bag full of glass. I don't know if it was real glass or sugar glass. It's one or the other. Trying to put Morgan trying to put Abyss's face into the piles of glass. Abyss in his advantage grabbed the chair, grabbed the glass piece of glass and kind of hit it onto the face of Matt Morgan. He also bled. He had some moments. The one spot, Morgan was going for the move off the top rope. Morgan's very underrated in my opinion. Some people shits on him. I don't want to get into it. That's not the time. He was going for a move off the top rope onto Abyss. I'm guessing Abyss got out of the way. He kind of hit the referee instead. So that was a good creative spot. So it was, I'd say an okay match, by the way. It kind of broke down a bit with Dr. Stevie. So Abyss trying to leave the ring, grab the chair, and then Dr. Stevie came out of nowhere, told Abyss no more violence. Then he kind of blanked him, ignored Dr. Stevie's advice. Then he grabbed the bag full of thumbtacks and placed the thumbtacks into the middle of the ring. But they had this argument between Dr. Stevie and Abyss. Morgan got the advantage. He kind of hit. I think he put Abyss through the power of thumbtacks with the sit down power bomb. That was sickening. And also, I was cringing when Morgan's trying to place Abyss's face into the piles of glass. Abyss's blood was dripping onto the glass. I was cringing. Oh my god, that is disgusting. I don't know if that's real blood or not. It was still disgusting, by the way. So in the end, I think Morgan low blow Abyss, pinning for the win. I think the wrong person got the victory. It was just it's just end the rivalry between Abyss and Matt Morgan. And it set up the continued rivalry between Dr. Stevie and Abyss. They had a match at Victory Road. It continued throughout the rest of the year of 2009 during Abyss's feud with Mick Foley. That's another story another time. So the match was not bad. It wasn't shit. People give it 1 star. I don't think it was the worst match of the night, but it was okay, in my opinion. Maybe I was just the minority. The majority or the minority, Anyway, so that was match number 4. I think there was 8 matches, it was 8 matches on the card. So you had the X Division match, you had the 4-way knockouts match, the 3-way NWGP Tag Team Title match, and then Abyss versus Morgan. So match number 5. This is a freeway match, freeway knockouts match for the TNA Knockouts Championship. We got Awesome Kong, the future Kama in WWE, with Risha Saeed. That's cheerleader Melissa wearing a hijab. It's like a veil these Muslim women wear. Defending the title against the leader of the Beautiful People, that's Angelina Love, with Velvet Sky in her corner, and Taylor Wilde. So Kong and Wilde were feuding with the Beautiful People. On the Go Home show to Impact, I think, you had the Beautiful People cutting the braids of Awesome Kong. So the match was good. I think the match was fun, but the ending, we'll get to that shortly, kind of brought this match down. So it was good. I really enjoyed this match. It was, I thought the first half of this match was more of a handicap match. You know, you had basically you got, I think it was Tyler Wilde and Kong working on Angelina, and then when there was a thought that it's going to be a tag team maneuver between Kong and Wilde on Angelina, but it's like Kong basically was going for like a tag team maneuver, but instead Kong kind of throw Wilde like a dummy. Or yeah, and then the freeway began. One more of the match, you had Kong was going for like a move. She was going for the 450. I think it was on Angelina, but Angelina got out of the way in the last minute. Got like TNA chance. So here's the ending of this. So the ending was so awkward. It brought this match down. You had Velvet Sky basically wrapped up Kong's braids into the cage door. Tyler Wilde hit Angelina with the crossbody, and Angelina knocked herself out during that crossbody. And then referee did trying to do the 3 count in the last minute. You had Taylor kind of pulled on Angelina's head. Did the 3 count, did the same thing. It was getting awkward. In the end, you had Risha Saeed cutting the hair, trying to release Kong from the cage door. Kong kicked Wilde, and while she's near the door, and then you had Angelina rolled up Tyler Wilde for the victory, and she became the Knockouts champion for the first time. This is the first Knockouts title out of 6, because she went on to won the Knockouts title 6 times in her TNA career. Kong won the title twice, by the way. She held the belt since winning the title. Was the Impact in October. I think it was the first Impact when they went HD. So because at the time they were doing well. Like I said, this is still in the golden period of TNA until the golden period ended when Hogan came along. Probably at the first Impact of 2010 or Genesis. It's one or the other. So, but besides the finish, besides the finish of this match, it was a fun match to watch. It was good. It was way better than the 4-way knockouts cage match from earlier of the show. So that's match number 5. We've got 3 more. Yeah, we've got 3 more matches to go. So next match. Yeah, we've got 3 more matches to go. Yeah, we did. 3 more. Sorry, trying to remember the card that well. So the next match. This is technically the match of the night, in my opinion. This is a Philadelphia street fight, and this is for the IWGP and TNA Tag Team Championship. We got the TNA Tag Team Champions, that is Beer Money Incorporated. That is Robert Roode and James Storm, defending the belts against the IWGP Tag Team Champions. And also the titles is also on the line. That is Team 3D, former Dudleys. That is Brother Ray and Brother Devon. Brother Ray is the future Bully Ray. So, Team 3D won the tag team belts at Wrestle Kingdom 3 against the most violent people, the most violent players. That is Togi Hasabi, Hasabi, and Toru Yano. Sorry, I can't pronounce the names of these guys. Yeah, they defeated the most violent players at Wrestle Kingdom 3. The storyline going into with Beer Money, they're doing this whole, what was it, the wagon challenge. Is like if they put the belts on the line. If one of the members of Beer Money pin the other, like one of their opponents, they end up leaving TNA. So they had a rematch at Destination X that I think like Team 3D won, but that was a disqualification or a count out. I'm not too sure. So this is the rematch. And before that, they had this the Smashing Pumpkins singing the official song for this pay-per-view, Lockdown 2009. Smashing Pumpkins the lead singer was Billy Corgan, who ended up like trying to buy TNA in the mid 2010s, but unfortunately Dixie stopped him, and then he went on to buy the NWA and hope he do well. And some people dubbed it as TNA 2.0. Don't want to get into it. So anyway, the match between Team 3D and Bear Money, match of the night. Really like this match. They were fighting in the crowd. Moment of the match, you had basically Devon, Rude and Storm basically put Devon through a table. I really enjoyed this match. It was good. I think Brother Ray got hurt, got blooded in this match. I think like one of the members of Beer Money, I think it was Storm or Rude, kind of hit Ray with the cage door. A lot of near falls. I think they hit that finisher, but like Devon got out of the way. Ray broke the hold in the last minute. I'm trying to keep this match short and simple. If I ramble too much, it'll be a long review. Try to keep this review about 30 to 40 minutes. Anyway, so in the end, Team 3D won this match, become the TNA World Tag Team Champions, and become a 22-time Tag Team Champions. They won 21 belts in their careers throughout their runs in ECW and then WWE. Yeah, they went on to win the WCW Tag Team belts because that was during the Invasion storyline. I think they did won the TNA Tag Team titles in the past. Maybe the NWA Tag Team titles as well. Not really too sure. They won a lot of Tag Team belts in their careers for Team 3D / the Dudleys. They hit the 3D onto, I think it was on Rude or Storm to win this match. So they won the belts, and yeah, I think there were a lot of ECW chants because the Dudleys, Team 3D, the ECW legends won, the tag team titles in that company before going to the WWF Tag Team Champions. You repeat it in TNA and Japan and beyond. Anyway, so, and by the way, Team 3D, not Team 3D, Bear Money went on to win the tag team titles back. That'll be at Slammiversary 2 months later. I think it's the first of 5 they won it in their career. That's Bear Money Incorporated. That's Storm and Rude. I think Rude won more tag team titles. I think he won the tag team titles before he was part of the tag team with Jane Storm. Same as Jane Storm. He won the tag team titles before Rude. He was part of one of the best tag teams in pro wrestling history. And also in TNA's history, that is America Most Wanted with Chris Haas. So moving on to match number. This is match number 2. Match number 6. Is it 6? Yeah, this is the second to last match of the night. I'm trying to say. Sorry, remember the card. I'm trying to remember the card that well. So yeah, we've got. So this is a lethal lockdown match. We got Team Jarrett. That is Jeff Jarrett, the TNA Legends champion. That's AJ Styles. He defeated Booker T at Destination X the previous month. The Nation of Violence, Samoa Joe, and Daniels. And I'll talk about Daniels shortly. They're taking on Team Angle. That's the main event Mafia. That is Kurt Angle, Booker T, Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, and Big Sexy Kevin Nash. So The Mafia was formed in October the previous year. The gimmick of Main Event Mafia, they're the group of former world champions. Angle is the former WWE, World Heavyweight Champion in WWE, former TNA World Champion in TNA. Sting, who's a former NWA World Champion, WCW World Champion, and also former TNA World Champion, who's defending the title against Mick Foley in the main event. We'll get to the main event later on. Booker T, five-time WCW World Champion, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and Kevin Nash, former WCW World Champion, former WWF Champion, and Scott Steiner is the former WCW Champion. Won it, at Mayhem 2000, just before WCW went out of business in 2001. So the gimmick is, you have to be a world champion to be part of the group. They basically take it, really beating the fuck out of the younger talents, show them who's boss, type of thing. Angle and Jarrett have been feuding for months now. AJ's in this feud with, I think he's in this feud with Booker T. Like I said, defeat Booker for the title at Destination X the previous month. I think Joe was in this feud with Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash. They took out Samoa Joe in late 2008. I think they broke his arm. I'm not really sure on it. So, and let's get to Daniels. So he made his return on I think it was on the Go Home show. Maybe it is the Go Home show. I'm not really too sure. He made his return. He got fired in the Feast of Fire match in 2007. I think it was at Turning Point. And then he was the Curry Man for the whole bulk of 2008. And then when Curry Man also got fired in the Feast of Fire match, and also he was Suicide as well. And then he returned as just Daniels. He ended up becoming Christopher Daniels. That was being 2010, or when he came back to the company in 2011, to be part of Fortune's feud with Immortal. That was completely stupid, calling him just Daniels. I know it's Russo. I don't want to get into it. So glad he's Daniels. So glad he's the Fallen Angel. The match was good. Wasn't a classic Lethal Lockdown match. It was fun. It was a good match. I say the Philly Street Fight match is match of the night. This was, you can say, second. I say third best match of the night in my opinion. It was good, but no cigar in my opinion. So it was a good match. You had AJ took the spot. He did a dive. Angle and AJ fight on the top of the cage. And then AJ did some kind of dive. It looks like he hit his head on the metal part of the roof of the cage, but I'm not really unsure of that. At least he's okay. At least he's not knocked out. If he was onto the other members of the Main Event Mafia, and also a bit of a side note, Nash was his arm was bandaged up because the announcer says he suffered a staph infection. He was out for months with a staph infection in his elbow. Bit of a side note there. So in the end, AJ grabbed the guitar, Jeff Jarrett's guitar, and smacked it in the head of Booker T to win this match for his team. And then we got the debut of Bobby Lashley. He had the car engine Titantron. Bobby Lashley came, did the points. People say it was a bit bland. I don't think it was that bland. They're trying to keep it. I give TNA some props. They're trying to make it a mystery. What side is Bobby Lashley was in? He was never officially be part of TNA's feud with the Main Event Mafia. Jarrett, Joe, AJ were part of the front line. I think at this moment in time, I think the front line was disbanded or still continuing. I don't know about this front line thing. I heard it's they named it after some cat medicine. Anyway, so, this was the beginning of Bobby Lashley's first run. His first run was so forgettable. He came back in 2014 and kicked off his dominant run in his second run, becoming a multiple-time champion in TNA. His first run, not so much. Because at the same time, he was bouncing around his wrestling career and his MMA career. I think he was fighting with Bellator. His last wrestling match was against it was against Mr. Kennedy on Raw in 2007. Injured his shoulder, never came back. MMA career, now he and his started his first unforgettable run in TNA before he made his return to TNA in 2014 to 2018, and that kicked off his reign of dominance in his second run. So, yeah, it was a good match with a good debut, but not an all-time classic Lethal Lockdown matches. I think there have been better ones before this and also after this. That's my opinion. So moving on to the main event, folks. This is for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Sting defending the belt against hardcore legend Mick Foley. This is Mick Foley's first pay-per-view match. They announced that this is his first pay-per-view match. He debuted for the company, I think it was in the autumn of 2008. He's the kayfabe exclusive shareholder of TNA. He was still part of his feud with the Main Event Mafia. This is their real-life rivalry. It was their feud in WCW in the early 90s. I think Foley defeated Sting on an episode of Impact to get a shot at the TNA World Championship on this show. And this is Foley's first world title match for a decade. His last world title match was against, actually it was part of the six-pack challenge at Vengeance Night of Champions in 2007 when John Cena was the champion. So his first one-on-one world title match since his feud with Triple H, that Hell in a Cell match at No Way Out in 2000, almost a decade ago. This is the worst match of the night. I think they did try. This is not good. I thought it was bored. I think Foley was past his prime. He was about 44. Sting was about nearly 50. It was 17 years too late, and the cage did not really help them. There's supposed to be a war. I feel like the reason why the Doomsday Chamber of Blood match kind of failed because people want to see a war, like a war in the cage. But we never got that in the Abyss Morgan match on this show, and also in the main event. No war. It was boring. It was shit. You had basically, so one other match, basically Foley asked the referee, that's Earl Hebner, the key. He said, I don't have the key, kind of throw the referee, kind of pushed him. Then he kind of baseball sliding drop kicked the cameraman, and then later on, I think it was a few minutes later, Sting locked in the Scorpion Deathlock onto Foley. Foley asked the cameraman for his, barbed wire baseball bat. He managed to give him the bat and hit Sting with it. Sting was bleeding. Then in the end, both Sting and Foley did the raise to climb down to the cage, or climb out of the cage, I'm trying to say. And Foley managed to beat Sting to win this match and this is his one and only TNA World Championship in his run in TNA. His only run in TNA, 2008 to 2011. Foley was in before going back to the WWE. I think the wrong person went over. I think Foley at this moment in time doesn't really need to be world champion. I think that was just, I don't know why. I don't know, it's political. Maybe they give Foley one more run, and they did. It was one. I don't say Foley's the worst TNA World Champion. I don't know who's the worst TNA World Champion in TNA history or Impact Wrestling history. It's one or the other. So, but he went on to hold the belt until he had the title defense against Sting. I think they had a rematch at Sacrifice the following month. He ended up dropping the TNA World title to Kurt Angle in the King of the Mountain match at Slammiversary in June of that year. That led to Joe turning on the front line to join the Main Event Mafia. So yeah, and also this is Foley haven't won the world title for almost 10 years. When he was Mankind in the WWF in 1999, I think he won the WWF title for the third and final time in his WWE career a decade prior ago. He won the title in a triple threat match at SummerSlam in '99 against him, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Triple H. And then the following night he dropped the title to Triple H. So he waited a long awaited decade for a world title win. So it's him and Kane, because Kane won the WWF title at Kingdom in '98. Drop it to Austin the following night. And then it'd be a decade since he won the ECW Championship. That's a decade later at WrestleMania 24. And then he went on to win the World Heavyweight title in 2010. So technically 12 years, fully 10 years, winning his last world title in WWE at SummerSlam 99, and then dropping it to Triple H the following Raw, the following night, and then 10 years later, at Lockdown, wins another title, and it's basically his last world title win in his career. He never won another world title. He retired in 2012, by the way, Mick Foley. So Sting won the title against Joe at Bound for Glory in October 2008. Had a lengthy run of it, and then he dropped it on Lockdown in a crappy match. I think I'd rather have AJ or probably Samoa Joe, even and also he came off his feud with Kurt Angle. It's just kind of, I wish Sting hold the belt much longer. Probably drop the belt probably at Slammiversary, but yeah, it was just wish it'd be a lot better. I wish they swap this match around. Have the Lethal Lockdown match to main event that show, and this match be the second to last match of the pay-per-view. So that's just me. So anyway, so my final rating for TNA Lockdown 2009, I give it an 8 out of 10. I think overall, strong show. A strong show. Yeah, it was just a strong show. I really like this match. I really like this show. The only match in the bad has to be the main event. Sting and Foley in a steel cage match for the world title. You have some okay matches. The two matches in the okay has to be the four-way knockout, still, the Queen of the Cage match, and also Abyss and Morgan. Like I said, it wasn't a bad match. It was okay for what it is. It did kind of serve its purpose, but the good is the good. Really, it was a really, you had the really good matches. Good to great matches on the show. Like the opener, the 5-way X Division title match. The freeway match, for the IWGP Tag Team Championships, basically, I mean, the freeway tag team match for the Tag Team Championships, plus the Lethal Lockdown match, and also the match of the night for me, that is the Philly Street Fight between Team 3D and Beer Money Incorporated. So, hope you enjoyed my review of TNA Lockdown 2009. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button. Click the like. Click the bell. Subscribe to the channel. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. This is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later, guys. And that's my review of TNA Lockdown 2009. I give it a thumbs up.